Thank you for joining me. We're going to be making a Deco Mesh fall wreath. These are the supplies that you will need to complete your wreath. You need a wreath form. You could pick one up at the Dollar Tree. It's a wire wreath form, 14 inches. You need a roll of Deco Mesh. The one that I'm using is a 10-inch by 10-yard burlap fabric mesh. There are all sorts of meshes out there in colors that will suit your project. You need 15 pipe cleaners cut in half, 2 to 3 pipe cleaners that aren't cut, some coordinating ribbon. I use 2 different types, enough ribbon on one of your rolls to make a bow, which I will show you how to make, a ruler, some flowers, scissors and nippers, a glue gun, and some extra glue. Okay, let's get started. So what you're going to do is you're going to open up your mesh. Mesh comes in all different sizes. You can use a larger size, a 21-inch roll. Works very nicely too. The wreath that we're going to be making tonight is with the 10-inch, so when you make a wreath with a 10-inch mesh, the wreath isn't as large. It doesn't come out as far. The 10-inch makes a smaller wreath. What I like to do, and which I find to work best, is if you take your mesh and you work with it from the floor. So you're going to take your roll and you're going to place it on the floor. You are going to take your mesh and you are going to gather it. You're going to take one of your cut pipe cleaners and you are going to see that on your wire wreath there are different sections. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sections. Say that fast. What you're going to do is we're going to be using the inner portion of your wreath. And you're going to take your pipe cleaner and you're going to put it underneath one of the crossbars and underneath 2 of your wires, and you are going to take your gathered piece of Deco Mesh and you are going to twist it in place. Okay? This might have to get trimmed later, but most likely it won't, but it might. So what we're going to be doing is you're going to be taking your mesh and you're going to be making 5 bubbles in each section. So you're going to take your mesh and you're going to gather it and you're going to take your next pipe cleaner and you're going to take it and it's going to go down and around your form and you're going to just twist it. Okay, you could twist it a couple times because the bottom portion of the wreath we're not going to reopen. The ones that are on the top of the wreath we will be reopening to add ribbons later. You can just twist it on there. The neater the back, the neater the project, especially if you're having it like maybe on a glass door. But if your door is a solid wood door or a solid metal door, you don't want your pipe cleaners to be poking through too much because it could also scratch your door. You're going to take your mesh and you're going to gather it again and you're going to be making your little bubble the same size as your previous bubble. Some people measure their mesh, but I don't think it's necessary. I think when you eye it, it's just fine. So This pipe cleaner we went down, so this pipe cleaner we're going to go up. So we are going to wrap around the two inner bars of our wreath, and we are going to take our mesh, we're going to measure it again, and we are going to make sure that it looks similar in size. You can pull it up or pull it back, whichever works for you. And you're going to take your pipe cleaner and you're going to twist it and push it. And we're going to do it again. So again, that pipe cleaner is up. This pipe cleaner is going to go down. So we're going to take it, wrap it around, and it's going to go down. And we're going to twist it underneath. And we'll see that it's the right size. So it means we're doing good. You could wrap it around the outside of your wreath as well. You just don't want the ones that are going down to poke your surface behind your wreath. So this is our fourth. So that was down, so this one's going to be going up. Just want to show you closely what we're doing. Taking your pipe cleaner, you're going to go to the two inner portions of the wreath. You're going to take it, push it down, and you're going to just twist your pipe cleaner. And I think that one looks a little bit bigger, so I'm just going to pull it a little bit tighter. And when you're doing this, you can puff them out so they look the way that you want them to look. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. This would be our fifth bubble. And our fifth bubble, what we're going to do is we're going to be making it go down because our other one was up. So over the two crossbars in the middle, and we're going to be twisting. And we make it nice and tight, right around the outer portion of the wreath. Now this is going to be our sixth bubble, and it's up. But this one is also at the next crossbar. So what we're going to do is we're going to go from underneath on one side of the crossbar and underneath the other side of the crossbar. So it makes the bubbles more stationary because the other ones can move around. This one won't be able to move around. We have our bubble and we have our pipe cleaner, and we're going to twist. Okay, and we're going to fluff. So that is one complete section. So how nice is that? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more to go. All right, so now this one was up. So now we're going to go down. So here is my bubble. Sometimes the mesh sticks to each other, so you have to be careful. The other thing is sometimes it sticks to you. So sometimes long sleeves isn't the best thing to wear. I don't take my own advice. So you're going to take that down and you're going to twist. Okay. And again, since it's on the bottom, we want to secure it to the wreath so it's nice and clean on the other side, and we're going to push it. So that one went down. So the next one is going to be going up. So through the two crossbars in the middle, and around. There are many ways to make a Deco Mesh wreath. This is just one style that I find that works really good, especially for people that have never made one before. I used to make the wreaths at AC Moore, and we used to make them very large, and we used a different wreath form. A lot of people said that they loved the wreaths, but they were a little too big and not user-friendly, that they looked fine in the store, and they would bring them home and they'd be way too big. So I found that this wreath, making it this way, it's a little bit more user-friendly on your front door. I wouldn't say to put it between a screen door and your outside door, because sometimes they get squished. You can get a suction cup door hanger, and you can hang it out that way, or you can use one of those metal door hangers that you could possibly pick up in either Michael's or Joann's. They might even have them in the Dollar Tree. I'm not 100% sure. Okay, so let's see how many we have in this section. I was too busy talking, I forgot to count. So I have 1, 2, 3, this will be my 4th. And that's an up, so it's going to be a down. Okay. So after a while when you're doing it, you'll get the hang of it, and you'll see that it's a pretty easy technique, and you can make wreaths for all sorts of holidays. It all has to do with your decoration. Again, look at this, it's coming along nice. Now this one is at the crossbar because we're done with the second section. So we're going to go again from one side of the crossbar to the other side, and we are going to make our bubble, and we are going to take our pipe cleaner and we're going to twist it. And then this bubble is now stationary, and it's going to hold this section together. Okay? All right, so since that one was up, the next section is down, the next bubble, I should say, is down. So, measured my bubble, and down on the 2 crossbars, and twist, push it along to where you like it, wrap your pipe cleaner. Some people like to wrap the pipe cleaners at the end. I think it's the worst part of making the wreath. So I like to just do it as I go, so I don't have to go back and do that. But you could do whichever way that you'd like. I find this way you don't have to revisit it. I don't like to revisit things. One and done. Okay, so that one is up. So the next one is down. Okay. Okay, again, you just twist it along. Add it to your frame. And puff. Might need to untwist it. It might twist for you sometimes. I find that the burlap does that. Sometimes the plastic mesh doesn't. There's also a paper mesh, but I've never really used that, so I'm not too sure. This is 3. This is my 4th one. Down. This is up. These mesh wreaths are fine outside. the mesh itself is a plastic, so it's fine outdoors. Okay, so let's see here. So again, let's see, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is my 5th one. Did I do 2 down? That's down, and that's up, that's down, and this is up. Okay, this is going to be going down. Just don't like the way that piece was working. Going to take my mesh, which is getting all tangled for whatever reason, I do not know, and so it happens, so don't worry. This one is going to go on the crossbar, and it's going to be going on either side, and it's not going up, it's going down. So we're going to twist it, and we're going to wrap it on to the wreath base. So there we go. Just fix your bubble. Alright, a little technical difficulty here with my mesh. I do not know why it's doing what it's doing. Okay, it's probably because we're videoing. Alright, so that one is down. So this one will be up. And we're going to go around, pick my little bubble, I have made countless wreaths, and I don't think this tangle has ever happened to me before. So it's very interesting. And I do not know why it did what it's doing, but we'll work through it. So that one isn't up, so this one is a down. You want your bubble to be the right size. So play with that. And we're going to twist it onto the frame. The nice part of the video is if by some chance, if you are having some sort of difficulty with yours, you could stop me and replay me. But I was told that this is going to be on the archives for a while, so you'll be able to do another season, and you could come back and you can see how this wreath was made again. This is called the bubble technique, or the puff. There's so many different names that people have made up. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is my 4th one. So this is down. There is all different types of the Deco Mesh wreaths. So who knows, maybe I'll be back to show you another technique another time. So now that is down, and this next one will be up. Under the crossbar, it will be going. So let's just make our puff. And crossbar and up and twist and there we go. Nice and tight. There we go. Look at that. As you can see, it sticks to things. It was just sticking to the ribbon. So you just have to work with it. That's the burlap. The other plastic mesh doesn't do that, but the burlap one does. I definitely have, the burlap one is definitely one of my favorites. I have a lot of country accents to my house, so I like to use the burlap because I like the natural look of it. And the ribbons that I'm using tonight are ribbons that I have in the house. Since the quarantine, I had all of this material in the house, but it's something that you can order from Michael's or from Joann's, and they can send it to you if you wanted to make a wreath ahead of time, instead of waiting to when these stores open, when we go back to some sort of normal. You can order a wreath base also at Michael's or Joann's. It just will be a little bit more than $1 than at the Dollar Tree, or if you're in the Dollar Tree, since that is open during the quarantine, you can look to see if your Dollar Tree has any. I went today because I wanted to make another wreath for my mom for Mother's Day, and they didn't have any more wreath bases left. So hopefully they're going to be getting some more in, and there'll be more for us to make some pretty wreaths to make people smile, or at least ourselves to smile. They also have some flowers if you wanted to add some flowers to your wreath. You can always add a sign to your wreath. The best way to add anything like that, like a sign, would be a pipe cleaner or a wire, and wire it to the wreath. What's so nice about these wire wreaths is there's enough places for you to wire things in. Like, you don't even have to have a hanger with one of these wreaths, because you'll be able to hang it right on the back from one of the wire sections. So we don't even have to do that. Add a wreath hanger. One less thing to do anyway. So now I'm just puffing my puff. And let's see, what do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. This will be my fourth. See, we're coming along here, doing really well. Okay, and then this one will be down. Twist it up. We're almost done. Look at that. from with our mesh as well. So it's all good. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove this from the centerpiece of the roll and just try to straighten this out so I don't have to fight with it so much. And this section is going to go up. I have a feeling I didn't cut myself the right amount of pipe cleaners because I dropped some or something. I might have to cut myself a couple extra. That one was up. Let's cut them down. And if you make your puffs a little bit puffier, you might be seeing that you have even less mesh than I do. And if that's the case, where it's a little bit thinner, that's where you would add your bow or your flowers. Like, that is the perfect spot that nobody would ever see that it was like a little bit bare there. So it's a good little trick to always remember. Okay, so that one was up, so this one's down. Okay. Actually, I'm going to take my pipe cleaner and I'm going to cut it in half because I mustn't have counted correctly. So this one is up. What's nice is when you buy a packet of the pipe cleaners, you usually get 24. So you're doing really good. You'll have plenty to do a wreath. And I guess I need mine a little puffy because I think this might be it for me. Let's see. This is going to be down. I have a little bit left over, so I might try to get one more puff. And let's just see how that works for us. Just twisting this. It gets a little harder when it gets a little bit closer together because it has less room for you to manipulate. But like this piece that I have here isn't like a full piece. So what I'm going to just do is I'm going to take it and I'm going to poke it in to my wreath. And you see how that piece is a little bit smaller? That's going to be a perfect spot to add a flower or to add your bow. So I'm just going to take another piece and I'm just going to grab that end and I'm going to wrap it around and then just wrap it around the wreath base. And when you pick your pipe cleaner color, you just want to pick something that's a little bit lighter than your mesh. Like if you were doing a blue one, I would use a blue pipe cleaner. So I would just do something that blends in. It's something that isn't going to, you don't want to bring any attention to it, okay? So you might just want to just puff your little wreath out. Again, this is where my bow is going to go. So that's why that looks a little funny there. But that's okay. It's totally okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our wreath and we're going to put our wreath on the side, and I'm going to show you how to make a bow. A lot of people want to know how to make bows, and there's many ways to make bows, but I'm going to show you the way that I make a bow. I used a roll of ribbon that was a 25-foot roll of ribbon, but I did cut some small pieces of ribbon that we're going to add to our wreath. I cut 6 pieces at 12 inches, and then I dovetailed them, and I will show you how to do that in just a couple minutes. But I just want to show you that this is a roll of ribbon. There's 2 keys that I find to make a really good bow. Is the ribbon needs to be wired ribbon, which means there's wire on the sides of the ribbon, and a pipe cleaner to tie your ribbon together, your bow together, I'm sorry. So what I do is I take my ribbon and I am going to hold it in my left hand. I am a righty, and I'm going to take my ribbon and I am going to fold it over. And since this ribbon has not really a good and bad side, it's a little bit on the easier side to work with. I'm going to just keep folding back and forth, making my loops the same size, just back and forth, and back and forth. And I'm going to pretty much use up what's left on my spool of ribbon, because I wouldn't really not need that ribbon to do anything else with, so it would really be a waste not to. Because this is going to be a nice bow. So you're going to keep going back and forth on each other, trying to keep them the same size. And back and forth, and back and forth. Hope I'm staying in frame for everybody. And I do like when there is tails on my bows. So I just want to keep that in mind when I'm making all of my loops, that I'm going to have nice amount left. Okay, so I finished up my whole rest of my roll. Just going to remove that piece of masking tape that was holding it on the ribbon, and I think I'm going to see if I can get one more loop. Yes. Okay, and then I would say that my ribbon is, well, let's see, we have a ruler, 12 inches, close to 24 inches long. And I'm going to take my ribbon and I'm going to lay it right here in the center. And I'm going to take my pipe cleaner and I'm going to squish my bow together and try to have my pipe cleaner a little bit more on the even side, and then just twist them together. And then this is going to become my tail. So I'm going to show you what I do is I cut it right in half, and then I take my 2, because now you have 2 of your tails, and I line them up, and then I fold them over with the wire on the left hand side, and I take my scissors and I cut in a V shape, and I make dovetails. Just a little fancier ending for your bow. And all I just do is I take all of my ribbons and I pull them apart on both sides. One going one way, one going another way. So it looks all nice and full. And then you have your bow. It wasn't hard at all. Okay, and you have your tails. And just play with your ribbons. And there you go. There's your bow. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 2 pipe cleaners and I'm going to take them. I'm going to put my bow on the side. I'm a side bow kind of girl. And I'm going to poke it through the crossbars and just twist it. I'm not going to twist it very tight because I don't want the bow to get pulled into the wreath. I want the bow to be up on the wreath. So I have my bow on the side. And what I'm going to do next is we're going to talk about those ribbons. And what I have is 2 coordinating ribbons, and I have 6 of each one, and some of my scrap there. So I have 2, 4, 5, and then I'm going to cut more of those to show you. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that's good because I want 6 in total. And then I have 1 more of each. So these are 12 inches long. I just took a ruler and I just cut them. And what you're going to do is you're going to take them. I do this together only because it saves time. Your ribbon does not have to be the same thickness. This ribbon is a 2.5 inch ribbon. There are thinner ribbons. If that would work better for your project, that's great. But just make sure that they have wire in them, okay? So I'm going to take my 2 ribbons and I'm going to fold them. And I'm going to take it so that the wire is on the left-hand side. I'm going to take my scissor. So you just need a nice sharp scissor. And you're just going to cut it on an angle. And now you have 2 V's. And then you're going to take your ribbon again, you're going to fold it, and you're going to have your wire on the left-hand side, and you're going to take your scissor, and you're going to cut on an angle, so then you have your V's. Okay, so those are called dovetails. Okay, so now you're going to take your pile of ribbons, and you're going to come and you're going to look at your wreath. And what you're going to do is you're going to look for your ribbons, your pipe cleaners that are sticking up, okay? So I'm going to just start here at this one. So these are my pipe cleaners that are sticking up. I'm going to take my green dot and my black and white check, and I'm going to take them and lay them on top of each other, and I'm going to push them together in the middle, making like a little bow tie, let's just say. And you grab them in the middle. You're going to take your pipe cleaners that you twisted, you're going to carefully untwist them, because if you just lay them on top of it, your ribbons aren't nice and snug in your wreath. So now you're going to twist them. We're not going to be going in them again. So you're going to twist them, and you're going to take them and push them down into your wreath. Then you're going to take your ribbons and you're going to spread them open. Okay. I have it so one's going at the top and one's going at the bottom. I just kind of twist it that way. So that's your first set of ribbons in your wreath, okay? So I have 6 of them. So what I try to do is I do one here, then I'm going to go back and do one over here. I'm not going to do this one, it's too close to the bow, and I did skip one over there as well. So I'm going to now go to the next one, and I'm going to take, it doesn't matter again which one's on top and which one's on bottom, going to layer them together, and I'm going to pinch them in the middle, okay, and then I'm going to place them right down in my opened pipe cleaner, twist it and push the pipe cleaner top down, and I'm just going to spread my ribbons so they look really cute. They look cute in there. So now the next one is down, so it wouldn't be up. So I'm gonna just skip this next one that's up for now, and then I have a down one, and then I have an up one. So let's just take a peek and see what I got there. Open that up, and I'm gonna take my green and my black, and I'm going to put them together again in the middle, and put it right down in the middle. Twist my pipe cleaner nice and tight, and push them down, and pull my ribbons. Okay, how great is that? Looks so cute. I love it. So now that's that one. So now I'm gonna go over here to the bottom. And again, what did I do? I had one that was down and one that was up, and then I had one that was down, and then I did the next one that was up. Okay? I'm gonna undo my pipe cleaner. I'm going to take my green and my black. I'm gonna match them up, pinch them in the middle, and then raise them up. Poke them down, spread them. Oops, there we go. Spread them down. And now I'm going to have the next one's down, the next one's up, the next one's down, the next one's up. Okay, and I'm going to do my green and my black, squish them together, put them right here. See, it makes sense to go back and forth so that your sides are pretty even. You don't want to have more ribbons sticking out on one side than on the other. If by some chance you were lucky enough to have more ribbon, then you could add a heck of a lot more ribbon. Because I don't think you could ever have too much, because it's just so cute. So you have your ribbons there. And then this one is down, up, and that works out perfect, because that one's up and down and up. So we did it right. It all worked out perfectly. Good job, me. All right. And what I was saying is, if you wanted to add more ribbons, you have those other ones that we skipped that you could add more ribbons to, if that's what you like. Some people add like tremendous amount of ribbons, and they actually even do longer than the 12 inches. If you wanted to do yours longer, if you thought that they didn't show as much as you want them to, you can. Just remember, wire ribbon, because if you don't use wire ribbon, your ribbon is floppy. This is a non-wired piece of ribbon. It doesn't hold a bow very well at all. It looks like it has wire in it, but it's not. Just a gross grain ribbon. So that wouldn't work for you as nicely. Not to say you can't use it, it just doesn't stand up as well. So this is what my wreath is starting to look like. And the next thing that we need to do is we need to add the decoration to the wreath. And that would be some greenery or just some flowers. I wanted to do some sunflowers, and I like this this little greenery that I picked up. Actually, I didn't pick it up. I ordered it from Joann's, and they did home delivery for me. So what I'm gonna just do is I'm gonna take my little nippers and I'm gonna cut them because they're just a little bit easier to work with when you do that. So just cut them and cut them. So that was one little bush. And what I want to do is I wanted to add some to the top of my bow and bottom of my bow, and just give it a little bit of interest. So I usually take 2 or 3 of them, even though I just cut them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just twist them into my pipe cleaner that I have open, and if you decide that you want to do greenery or flowers on a base that you would like to change up from season to season, then you don't need your glue gun so much, and you can change it without worrying about replacing your mesh. So, because I'm not 100% sure how I want this wreath to be, because of the fact that I really don't have the ability to go out and pick exactly what I had wanted for my wreath. So I wanted to be able to maybe possibly change it when the quarantine is over. So to add flowers to your wreath now, to enjoy it, to maybe possibly cheer me up or cheer somebody up in my family, or maybe when somebody walks by they might go, oh, that's a very pretty wreath. You know, I just like to have my front door decorated. So I'm going to take a little bit of hot glue, and I'm just going to glue it pretty much onto that greenery. Okay, and then you get those little I call them spider webs. So and just move your price tag, and I just cut it. What? Just cut it down. I don't use scissors for this because this is it's a surefire way of ruining a pair of scissors, unless you're going to just use those scissors for that. So I just like to put that on that, and that on that, and there's my tails. I just don't want my flower to get involved in my tails, and that is my finished wreath. I do think I'd like to add maybe some more sunflowers and maybe some more leaves, but that's just something that I guess I just have to play around with a little bit more. I hope that you found this very helpful for when you want to make a wreath. Again, the way that I decorated it is definitely to your own taste. You don't need to add the ribbons if you don't want to. Anything that's poking up, you can push them down. Like this one right here, it's poking up. You might want to poke it down. As you can see that you didn't really even notice it. So that's the beauty of using a lighter pipe cleaner. Okay, so I hope that you enjoyed this video and that I was helpful and that maybe I brought a little joy into your life during this horrible time. And I hope that everyone stays well and safe, and possibly I'll be able to see you again on video or at the library. So you take care and thank you so much. Bye-bye. Looked at my wreath on video and I saw that it was actually so plain, and I really didn't want to leave it that way. So I looked at my flowers and I figured I'd be able to add a few more and maybe some leaves. So I actually am going to add 3 more of my sunflowers, and I'm going to add them so that they're being glued towards the pipe cleaners, and I'm trying to put them so that I'm not going on top of my ribbons. So just adding glue to them and just sticking them in and adding a few leaves here and there. And I'm just going to take the glue gun and add glue to the leaf and add it to the base of the flower, just to give it a little bit more pop, I guess you could say. See, sometimes when you step back and you look at your work, you see that you're not exactly happy with it, and I wanted to be happy with it, and I wanted you to be happy with it too. It's just sometimes it's hard when you don't have the supplies that you really want, and this quarantine has done that to us. So hopefully when you're doing this, you'll have all the supplies that you need and you won't have to second guess yourself. I really want to say that this leaf is a runaway, but I really want to say that I really, really like this so much better, and I'm really happy with it. I took my tails and I put them on either side of my sunflower so they're hanging down, and all you just have to just try to do is just de-glue. Your piece, and voila, you are finished. I did start off with just the 2 sunflowers, and knowing that I was going to add to it, but I just really wanted to share it with you that I revisited it and I really wanted to add more. And I think it looks very springy, very summery. I love these little sprigs up here. So again, it's something that you might have to play around with. You might have to wait till you have the right flowers that you find. A sign, if you decided that you didn't want a bow and you wanted to add a sign, you can add a sign through the middle. Sometimes I put a bow at the bottom and I add a sign through the middle. Again, I'm a side bow girl though, so you have to do what's right for you and pick what you like, and you'll just play around with all your ribbons. And again, I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for joining me. Take care. Bye-bye.